Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Taylor. You've never heard me before. That's because I've never done a review before. However, my reviews are going to be different because they're going to be one continuous take every time. I will never edit anything I do. I will never, how do I want to say this? I will never give you anything less than my pure, unfiltered thoughts. I mean, if I was going to edit this video, I'd have done it already. So, on to our discussion. We're going to talk, well, I'm going to talk, you're going to listen. I'm going to talk about cinematic universes. Now, cinematic universes are the big thing in Hollywood right now. You've got the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who have the Monsters universe with Godzilla and King Kong and all that. DC animated universe, extended universe, although I suppose you do have the animated universe too. And you have a bunch of failed cinematic universes, like the classic Monsterverse, which failed with Tom Cruise's Mummy reboot. But what makes a cinematic universe? Well, obviously it's a group of interconnected movies, so why don't we refer to the J.R.R. Tolkien cinematic universe when we refer to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies? Well, I think it's because a cinematic universe is created from multiple plot threads. You have multiple things happening at once. Lord of the Rings, you had the Lord of the Rings series. You had the original trilogy written by Tolkien in, God, I don't remember, the 30s? I think it was the 30s. Anyway, and you had the Hobbit and the Silmarillion, which were written, I think the Hobbit came out before Lord of the Rings, or it might come out after, I'm not really sure. But you have a continuous narrative story of one story you're going to tell, whereas with, say, the DC Extended Universe, you have Superman, but you also have Batman, but you also have Wonder Woman, but you also have Cyborg and the Flash, and Aquaman, and the Suicide Squad. Yeah, with all the good that one did. And you have this wide variety of events and of characters and of tones that each movie takes. Now, what makes some universes successful and others not? Why did the classic Monsters universe with Tom Cruise's The Mummy, that was also going to have, I think, the Wolfman and the monster from the Black Lagoon, and I think they were going to do a Blob remake too. Why did that fail? And the DC Extended Universe flip-flop around like it has, but the Godzilla King Kong Mega Monsters rose, and obviously the Marvel Cinematic Universe, why did those two succeed? I think I know the answer to that. I think the answer is time. Marvel took 4 years to go from Iron Man 1 to Avengers 1. 4 years. Let's see, Universal, with the Giant Monsters universe, they've had Godzilla 1, they've had King Kong in 2016? I think it was 2016. It might have been, no, it was 2017, that's right. And you have Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla 2, coming out next year. So that's 5 years to get from the first to the second Godzilla movie. And then you're going to have Godzilla vs. Kong, I think comes out in 2020. But let's get back to Marvel for a second, because everyone is going to think about the MCU when they think of a cinematic universe, and rightfully so. I think the last, just to put this into context, I think the last Marvel Cinematic Universe offering that did not make more than $1 billion was, I think it might have been the original Ant-Man in that was 2014, I think? It was 2015, because it came out right before Civil War, that's right. But that just shows you about how intensely, just how big and how powerful and how successful the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. And again, I think it's due to time. From Iron Man 1 to Avengers 1, I said earlier, was 4 years. But look at what they did when you compare it to the time between Man of Steel and Justice League, which was 7 years, actually. So let's see. In the MCU, you had Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor 1, Incredible Hulk, Captain America, and then you had Avengers 1. And that all happened in the 4 years. DCEU, you had Man of Steel in 2010, then you had, I think, Batman vs. Superman in 2014? Yeah, 2014. No, it was 2015, that's right. Batman vs. Superman in 2015. Then the same year you had Suicide Squad. Then you had Wonder Woman in 2016 and Justice League in 2017. So that's 5 movies compared to the MCU's 6 movies if you count First Avengers. But it took DC 7 years to get to that point. But here's the thing. You can't compare the first Avengers movie to Justice League. You have to compare it to the first on-screen team-up, which was Batman vs. Superman. And Batman vs. Superman, I mean, yeah, that was 4 years later, but it, A, it kind of sucked. B, it tried to introduce 2 completely brand new major characters, Wonder Woman and Batman, into the cinematic universe in one shot. And it also, didn't have anything between it and Man of Steel. It was the second movie in the whole damn thing. So, again, to recap. 5 movies from Iron Man 1 to the original Avengers, or if you're British, Avengers Assemble in 2012. 2 movies from Man of Steel to Batman vs. Superman, including both of them. DC wasn't patient. They didn't let their characters develop over time the way Marvel did. They wanted to be Marvel in 2012. They wanted to jump straight to the team-up movie. They didn't want to have their characters naturally develop over time the way Marvel did. Marvel, you met Thor, you met Hulk-ish, you met Captain America, you met Tony Stark twice. And you wanted to see how all these different personalities, the patriotic, oh my god, rah rah, America, Captain America, into the, what does he call himself? Playboy, billionaire, genius, philanthropist, or something along those lines, to, the powerful, manly God of Thunder. And then, you also had minor characters in those movies that became major in Avengers, like the Black Widow, who first appeared in Iron Man 2, but, obviously took a larger presence in Avengers. So, it's because of time that the MCU and the DCEU have done so differently. DC didn't put in the effort. Marvel did. So what does this mean going forward? Well, I have to say, I watched the trailer for Aquaman, and I watched the trailer for Shazam. And they both look really good. I'm going to go see Aquaman. I'm going to go see Shazam. Marvel, that gravy train's rolling. I mean, at this point, I think in the eyes of moviegoers, Marvel can do no wrong. But I think Marvel is going to have to be very careful with these next two movies, because Captain Marvel. In the comics, Captain Marvel is one of, if not the absolute strongest hero characters on Marvel Earth. How are they going to have Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, how are they going to have her appear in Infinity War 2, whether it be titled Avengers Forever or Avengers Endgame or whatever it's going to be? How are they going to make that not feel like a Deus Ex Machina, like essentially an ass pull? How are they going to make it not feel like they pulled a character out of their ass to beat Thanos? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. What I do know is that DC has maybe not the most promising lineup coming up. I mean, Aquaman is... come on, we've all made fun of Aquaman. Everyone gets a free Aquaman joke. And Shazam, even ignoring all the moral implications about Shazam and all, that's still a very unknown property that DC is essentially, betting the fucking farm on. So, you have this question. Will DC do what Marvel has done? And will Marvel trip and fall on its face? Now, I said we were going to talk about cinematic universes, and I mentioned at the start of this video that there's a third major cinematic universe, and that's the Godzilla universe. Now, I've not seen Godzilla. I have not seen Kong. But I think they're taking the Marvel approach in that they are letting themselves flesh out these characters, let themselves flesh out this world, so that when the time comes to have Godzilla fight King Kong, like they did in, when did the original Godzilla vs. Kong come out? Was it the... I think it was the late 70s, around 1979. Let's just say when the original Godzilla vs. King Kong came out. And that's their big endgame. That's their Batman vs. Superman. That's their Avengers, is Godzilla vs. King Kong. But I think it's going to be interesting how Universal does it, because at the end of the day, I don't think you're going to have a major continuing character for the big team-up movies. You're not going to have that human presence. Marvel, we had essentially audience surrogates in Tony Stark, and in Bruce Banner, and in Hawkeye, and in Captain America. I don't think it's possible in a giant monster movie to have a continuing presence. I don't think it's possible in a giant monster movie to have an audience surrogate the way that I think you might need to in order to create a ongoing, sustaining universe. And I know that might seem like a strange complaint. I mean, come on. All you want to do is you want to see Godzilla fight King Kong. All you want to see is King Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan, and I get it. But it makes a stronger film if you have a human presence. That's why things like The Godfather. That's why things like Pulp Fiction. That's why things like Stand By Me work, because you have that connection with the character. You have that connection with the audience, and I don't think that the audience can feel a true connection with an 80-foot tall nuclear lizard. I mean, that's just my opinion, but Universal is going to have to really play their cards right if they hope to want to have a... What am I saying? If they hope to have a continuously operating, continuously evolving, self-sustaining cinematic universe the way Marvel does. And honestly, at this point, the way DC does. Do I like cinematic universes? Yes. I think the cinematic universe is rapidly becoming a robust form of storytelling in Hollywood. I'm not going to say cinema, because cinema, you still have the British involved. You still have Bollywood. You still have Nollywood. You still have all these other countries whose cinema doesn't include major cinematic universes the way ours does. But I do think that over the next 10 years, we're going to see a lot more cinematic universe offerings, because, I mean, look, I'm an addict. I will pay for anything Marvel puts out at this point that isn't a TV show. I can't stand Marvel TV shows. And because of the fact that I'm an addict, there are a lot of people just like me who will gladly pay for anything Marvel does. There are people who will pay for anything DC does. I assume there are people who will do the same for Universal, but, Universal is the new kid on the block with this stuff. So, that's the end. I'm going to try to do a video a week. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm not just going to talk about movies while I do this. I'm going to be talking about books. I'm going to be talking about video games. I'm going to be talking about TV shows. I'm going to be doing reviews. I might even talk about food. I don't know. But I'm Jacob. I rant. And thank you for watching. See you next week. Good night.